Have you ever looked around a crowded room and felt completely alone? Not lonely, not sad, just separate. Like everyone else is speaking a language you never quite learned. If you've ever felt this way, if your mind spirals into questions that birth 10 more questions, if you need hours, sometimes days of solitude just to feel like yourself again, if people have called you intense or too deep or said you're in your head too much, this video is for you. Because what you're experiencing, it has a name, it has a psychological foundation, and most importantly, it's not a flaw. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist who spent his life mapping the depths of the human soul, called it the introverted intuitive type. And if you recognize yourself in what I'm about to describe, I want you to know, you're not broken, you're not too much, you're not overthinking. You're simply wired to experience reality at a depth most people never access. So let's explore what that really means. Not to fix you, not to change you, but to help you understand and embrace the beautiful, complex truth of who you are. Let me tell you about something Jung noticed in his decades of working with human consciousness. He observed that certain people like you, live with their attention naturally turned inward. Now, this isn't just about being introverted in the way we usually think of it. It's not just preferring books to parties or needing alone time to recharge. This is something much, much deeper. Jung called this psychological type the introverted intuitive. And what he meant was, your primary experience of life happens internally, in your inner world. While most people are captivated by external possibilities, new experiences, social connections, tangible achievements, the next exciting thing on the horizon, you find your energy in a completely different place. You find it in the images that rise from your unconscious, in the symbols and patterns that speak to something ancient in you, in the connections you notice that everyone else seems to walk right past, in the depth of meaning you find in seemingly simple things. Here's what I mean. Most people see a full moon and think, oh, it's beautiful tonight. But for you, that moon awakens something you can't quite name, a feeling that seems older than you are, a memory that doesn't even belong to your personal history. It's like the moon is speaking in a language only your soul understands. Or maybe you hear a certain song and suddenly you're transported, not to a specific memory, but to an atmosphere, a feeling, a sense of something profound that lives beyond words. Or you read a passage in a book and you have to stop, put the book down, stare out the window for 20 minutes because that one sentence unlocked something deep inside you. This is what Jung meant by being directed to the inner object. You're not engaging with the external world in the same way most people do. You're engaging with the internal world, the world of symbols, archetypes, and what Jung called the collective unconscious. Now, society often misunderstands this completely. Jung wrote that from an extroverted, productivity-focused perspective, deep thinkers can seem like the most useless of people. You're not the quickest to respond in work meetings. You're not always on and energetic at social gatherings. You can't do small talk about nothing for hours without feeling drained. You need time to process, to feel, to integrate information at a deeper level. But here's what society fundamentally misses. You are the one who sees beneath the surface. You're the artist who creates work that touches people's souls in ways they can't explain. You're the writer who articulates what others feel but could never put into words. You're the therapist, the counselor, the friend who truly sees people, not just their masks. You bring depth and meaning to a world that's increasingly obsessed with surfaces. Jung said that throughout human history, people like you have been the mystics, the prophets, the shamans, the poets, the visionaries. The ones who remind humanity that reality contains far more than what our physical eyes can see. And that's exactly who you are. Now let's talk about your superpower. Because yes, this is a superpower. even if it doesn't always feel like one. Jung defined intuition as perception via the unconscious. It's not logical deduction. It's not step-by-step analysis. It's not something you can present with bullet points in a PowerPoint. It's knowing without knowing how you know. And you experience this constantly, don't you? You walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional atmosphere, the tension, the joy, the unspoken conflict. You meet someone new and just know, this person isn't who they're pretending to be. There's something beneath the surface. You listen to someone's explanation and something deep in you whispers, that's not the whole truth. You see patterns before they fully emerge. You connect dots that seem completely unrelated to everyone else. You predict outcomes that surprise others but not you, because you saw it coming from miles away. You feel the undercurrents that other people are completely oblivious to. And when you try to explain this, when someone asks, how do you know that? The words fail you. Because how do you explain a feeling? How do you justify intuition in a world that demands concrete evidence? Jung wrote about this exact struggle. He said that if intuitive types tried to fully explain their insights, the fat would be in the fire, meaning people wouldn't understand. They'd think you're making things up, being dramatic, overthinking. So over time, you learn to keep certain things to yourself. You develop two versions of yourself. The public version, the one who shows up, functions, says socially appropriate things, plays the game, and the private version, the one who lives in your inner world, where your real thoughts happen, where your soul actually breathes, where you're fully, completely yourself. And here's what I really want you to understand. That inner world, that's not the fake version of you. That's not the version you should be trying to eliminate or fix. That inner world is where your power lives. That's where your truth lives. That's where your deepest wisdom lives. That's where you actually live. Your intuition has been guiding you your entire life. It's warned you about people who turned out to be harmful. It's pulled you toward opportunities that seemed illogical, but turned out to be exactly right. It's whispered truths to you that took years for others to see. This gift of perception through the unconscious, it's not something to apologize for. It's something to honor, to develop, to trust, even when the world around you doesn't understand it. I want to be completely honest with you about something. This gift of depth, it comes with a cost. The overthinking that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. The mental exhaustion from processing everything so deeply. The feeling that you're drowning in your own thoughts. The loneliness of being the only person in the room who's thinking these thoughts, feeling these things, seeing these patterns. The weight of experiencing everything so intensely when everyone else seems so light, so unburdened. These aren't signs that something's wrong with you. These aren't character flaws you need to fix. They're the natural consequences of living with heightened consciousness. Jung wrote that the introverted intuitive often experiences what he called extraordinary aloofness from tangible reality. You become an enigma, even to yourself sometimes, definitely to the people closest to you. Your family might say things like, "Why do you need so much time alone? Are you okay? Why are you always in your head? Why can't you just relax and have fun like everyone else?" Your friends might think you're distant, or moody, or too serious about everything. And you? You might lie awake wondering, why can't I just be normal? Why does everything feel so heavy to me when it seems effortless for everyone else? What is wrong with me? Here's the truth I need you to hear. When your inner world is this vivid, this demanding, this achingly real, the outer world can feel flat by comparison. Like you're watching life through frosted glass. Like everyone else is living in full color and you're somehow separated by an invisible barrier you can't cross. Jung observed this pattern over and over. He noticed that people with dominant intuition often lose connection with their physical existence. You forget to eat because you're so absorbed in thought. You stay awake until 3, 4, 5 in the morning because your mind won't stop spinning through possibilities and patterns. You neglect your body's basic needs because the psyche is so much louder, so much more demanding of your attention. And yes, let's be honest, this can be profoundly isolating. When you process life at this depth, it's hard, really, really hard, to find people who understand. Most people want to keep conversations light, surface level, safe, comfortable. But you can't help diving deeper. It's like you're physically incapable of staying in shallow water. When someone says, "How are you?" you want to give them a real answer, not, "Fine, you?" When you read the news, you don't just see events, you see systems, patterns, implications for the future. When you watch a movie, you're not just entertained, you're analyzing symbolism, themes, what it reveals about the human condition. And sometimes this feels exhausting. Sometimes you just want to experience things simply, lightly, without all this depth, all this weight, all this meaning. I see you, I understand, and I want you to know you are not broken. You are not too sensitive. You are not overthinking. You're thinking at the depth your consciousness naturally operates at. You are tuned to a frequency most people don't even know exists, and that's not a flaw. That's who you are. So how do you navigate a world that wasn't built for people like you? A world that rewards quick responses, instant decisions, constant availability. A world where, "How are you?" is a greeting, not an actual question. Where productivity is valued over depth. Where being too intense is seen as a problem to fix. First, I want you to understand something. In this fast-paced world, you might look slow, hesitant, passive, always in your head. But you're not slow. You're processing at layers they don't even know exist. You're not passive. You're observing with an intensity they couldn't sustain for 5 minutes. You're not hesitant. You're feeling into the complexity of situations while they're reacting from surfaces. Jung himself was profoundly misunderstood. People thought he was strange when he spoke about the reality of the soul, about archetypes, about the collective unconscious. The academic community criticized him, called him unscientific, mystical, too far out there. But he kept going, not to prove them wrong, not to gain their approval, but because there was something he called an inner necessity, something in his soul that demanded to be honored, regardless of external validation. And you have that same inner necessity. You're not here to play the same game everyone else is playing. Your game isn't about being the most liked, the most successful by conventional standards, or the most normal. Your game is about something different entirely. It's about becoming whole. It's about integrating all the parts of yourself, light and shadow. It's about honoring the depth of your experience instead of trying to shallow it out to fit in. It's about trusting your intuition even when you can't defend it logically. It's about creating meaning in a world that often feels meaningless. And yes, this means you'll be misunderstood sometimes. Yes, this means some people won't get you. Yes, this means you'll spend a lot of time alone. But here's what I've learned. Better to be alone and authentic than surrounded by people and completely unseen. Better to honor your depth than to betray it for shallow belonging. Better to be true to your inner necessity than to twist yourself into shapes that don't fit your soul. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to understand yourself and to find the few people, the rare, beautiful souls who speak your language. So what's the path forward? Should you try to be normal, more shallow, less intense? No, absolutely not. Jung's answer to this, and mine, is what he called individuation. Individuation isn't about becoming someone else. It's not about fixing what's wrong with you. It's about becoming the fullest, most integrated version of who you already are. For deep thinkers, especially women, This means a few specific things. First, reclaim your voice. Society often teaches women to be agreeable, to not make waves, to keep their perceptions to themselves. But your perceptions are valid. Your insights matter. Your depth is needed. Stop apologizing for seeing what others miss. Second, integrate your shadow. The shadow is everything you've denied about yourself to be acceptable. Your anger, your ambition, your sexuality, your desire for solitude, your need to say no. When you integrate these aspects instead of suppressing them, you reclaim enormous amounts of energy. Third, ground yourself in your body. Your depth is a gift, but you also exist in physical reality. You need to eat, sleep, move, feel the sun on your skin. Integration means honoring both your inner world and your embodied existence. Take walks in nature, dance, do yoga, cook nourishing food. Find practices that help you inhabit your body, not just your mind. Fourth, protect your energy. As a deep thinker, you likely absorb other people's emotions like a sponge. Learning to set boundaries isn't selfish, it's essential. It's okay to say no to social events that drain you. It's okay to limit time with people who don't respect your depth. It's okay to choose solitude when you need it. And finally, trust yourself. Your intuition has been guiding you all along. Your need for depth isn't a problem, it's your compass. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's your strength. The very things you've been taught to see as flaws, those are your gifts. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit a world that doesn't understand depth. You need to expand into your fullness and trust that's enough. Because it is. If you're a deep thinker, if you feel like a stranger in a world that values surface over substance, if your inner world is more real, more vivid, more meaningful than the one outside your window, this is what I want you to know. You are not broken. You are not too sensitive. You are not overthinking. You are awake at a level most people never access. You are tuned to frequencies most people never hear. You see what others miss. You feel what others bypass. You understand what others can't articulate. Yes, it's lonely sometimes. Jung knew this intimately. Yes, it's exhausting. Living in the depths requires enormous energy. But it's also a profound gift. You have access to the wisdom of the collective unconscious, insights that span all of human history. You have a connection to something vast and ancient and true. The world wasn't designed for people like us, but the world desperately needs people like us. It needs women who can see beneath the surface. It needs souls brave enough to dive into the depths. It needs voices willing to speak uncomfortable truths with compassion. You don't need to change. You don't need to be fixed. You need to individuate, to integrate, to become wholly, unapologetically yourself. Stop apologizing for your depth. Your intensity isn't a burden, it's your superpower. You are exactly who you're meant to be, and that is more than enough. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you recognize yourself in this description? What does your inner world look like? How do you navigate being a deep thinker in a surface-level world? Share if you feel called to, or keep it sacred, just for yourself. Both are beautiful. Both are valid. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing. We're building a community of deep thinkers here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your depth. The world needs exactly who you are.